Live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
Hello, everyone. This is Fox 12 Now. I'm Greg Nibbler, and thank you very much for joining us. We are live streaming here out of the Fox 12 Oregon newsroom. That's what you see behind me. We're here every weekday, starting at 1 o'clock, and go throughout the afternoon, and we spend a little bit more time on some of these segments, and we can, dig a little bit deeper into a lot of things. And what we're talking about right now is what you may have heard is the fact that a number of card skimmers have been found around the metro area, various locations. I've got a map here just showing what some of these are. We're going to get into this as far as what a card skimmer is, but if you have shopped at any of those locations in the last several days, we're going to have some advice for you. It would be mainly to double check your bank accounts and your statements and make sure that nothing nefarious is going on there. But that's some of those locations where this happened. We have a lot of details of that on our website, but we wanted to find out more just about card skimming, what exactly it is, what you can look out for really, and how to keep yourself safe. To do so, we are joined now by Kelsey Anderson from the Tigard Police. And Kelsey, thank you very much, for having time to join us here to talk about this. And, I have to admit, card skimming is something that I've been aware of, but I don't really know exactly how that works and what exactly that is. So I was hoping maybe you could give us just a definition of that, of what exactly is card skimming.
Sure. Yeah, unfortunately, this is something that is really common, and it's really difficult sometimes for consumers to notice that anything might be wrong at a point of sale. So essentially, a skimmer is a device that a scammer will put onto a point of sale, the terminal where you swipe your credit card at a cash register. So this might be a different range of businesses. Everything from gas stations are targeted quite often just because they're not attended 24 hours a day in most cases. And so someone can run up to one of those gas station terminals and put one on and run away, and no one's the wiser for a little while. We've also seen this, as your map indicated, at convenience stores, at other types of stores. So really anywhere where people are using a credit or debit card and there's an opportunity, a scammer might be putting a skimmer on it.
So this is really something that they can do, it sounds like pretty quickly then, if they can get a hold of that.
These are quick to install, unfortunately, and that's why it is an effective way for people to steal credit card information. Sometimes there's just a strip of adhesive that attaches this device onto a legitimate machine. Sometimes there's a variety of ways, but yes, it goes on pretty quickly. And what's really difficult from the consumer's perspective is they do a pretty good job of making them look like they belong on those devices and on those keypads. So when we're talking about red flags to look for, there are a few things. If the device seems wiggly, if it's a little bit loose, if there are parts that don't seem to match up, if the thickness seems a little bit bigger than the machine right next to you, that could be a red flag. But you're not, in most cases, going to walk up to one of these terminals and immediately say, oh, yep, that one's a red flag for me.
So it's just not going to be that obvious. I mean, that's pretty crazy of how good they are with this. Just a side note on this, with these kinds of scanners, is this something that they have to be nearby to gather that information? Is it wireless they're grabbing this, or do they have to come back and get that afterward to get the details?
I'm not sure. It could be both ways. It wouldn't surprise me, I should say, if it were both ways. We have seen them physically placed, and then someone will sometimes come back and physically remove it. But it wouldn't surprise me today, with cloud-based technology being what it is, that someone in a remote area might be able to still access that data.
Yeah, that's pretty scary because, as you mentioned, when you're going to check out, you're usually not paying that close attention to something like that. So very easy to fall victim. So you mentioned a couple of those, that one red flag as far as, or a couple of those, but, looking out for the thickness. What are some of the big things that people can look out just as consumers when they're checking out to make sure that they, or at least hope, don't fall victim to this?
Sure. One of the big things is, where you can, try to avoid swiping your card at all. It's pretty common now. We have mobile wallets. A lot of pay stations have the tap to pay or inserting your chip, which encrypts your card data. Those are all great options. So if you can avoid swiping and pay in another way, then please do that. That's a good first line of defense. If you do have to swipe your card, just take an extra second to really take a close visual look. Does it look like it's all working correctly and in order? Does anything seem like it might be off? It's okay actually to even, touch that point of sale and kind of wiggle it a little bit, because often if it is just a piece of adhesive holding on this device, it doesn't take much movement for it to come off. So that's a great line of defense as well. Also, as you mentioned, particularly for customers who might have been shopping at these stores over the last couple of days, make sure that you are keeping up to date on the transactions for all of your credit and debit cards. Not only going back to look at your statements, but a lot of these financial institutions now offer those live notifications so that you can get a text as soon as the transaction is made with your credit card, and you will know immediately if it was fraudulent or suspicious, and then can cancel your card.
Yeah, I was going to say, so if you do fall victim, like if somebody's out there right now and they're like, oh, I shopped there, I did scan this, they take a look that there's something fraudulent going on, what are those general next steps to do?
Yeah, if you see any kind of suspicious activity on your card, definitely call your bank, call your credit card company, and they will take care of that with you. They can cancel your card and address those transactions. And if you do think that you might have been a victim of a skimmer in particular, please, if you haven't already reported it to the store, make sure they're aware of it. Perhaps you were shopping at a location that we haven't yet determined. We in Tigard had 3 of these that were discovered on Sunday, and then overnight, actually, one of our officers took in a 4th report. So there may still be some additional stores throughout the metro area where these haven't yet been discovered and removed. So good line of defense, just making sure that you're keeping up on those transactions.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, as you mentioned, there could very well be other ones. I mean, because even just looking at this map, this is what we know of. Even here at the station, this was from yesterday. So, and that's a wide range there. That's a huge area. So definitely you would think that could stand to reason there could be more of those out there. So good things to watch out for everybody. Anything else that you think is important? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think across the Portland Metro, we have so many amazing different kinds of businesses. If you are working at a business, if you manage a business that is open to the public, also incorporate this into your daily routine. Make sure that your employees are trained in how to recognize some of these warning signs. Maybe even institute a procedure for your own company where your staff on a daily basis or at shift change throughout the day are proactively going out to check your cash registers and your point of sale machines just to make sure that nothing has been placed there. Because where we often see this happen is at point of sale stations that are not being attended. So you have an employee who might be helping another customer or is otherwise distracted and they step away from the register. And it only takes a few seconds, as we said, for a criminal to do this. So if you are proactively checking, then you are going to be preventing most of the fraudulent activity that will be coming out of those devices.
Yeah, I was just thinking, you mentioned that at the beginning, the gas stations tend to be one of those places where this happens a lot. And there still are a lot of pumps that don't have tap to pay on there. And now with, when we're all pumping our own gas now here in Oregon anyway, yeah, that's something to definitely pay attention to, I would imagine, because I certainly scanned it. I scanned mine this morning, and I'm just thinking about that right now. I'm like, yeah, I didn't pay attention.
We all do. Fortunately, I will say one other easy thing to look for, especially at gas station pumps, but we're seeing this more and more in other kinds of stores as well. There's a security seal. And if you see that that's been tampered with in any way on that device where you're swiping your card, then don't use it. Use a different machine or pay with cash if you have it. Those seals have been becoming more commonplace to fight this exact issue. So where you see that seal in place, then you know that you're good to go.
Okay. Anything else that you think is important for people to know?
I think we covered the basics. Just double check your bank statements. Make sure that you're monitoring for any kind of fraudulent or suspicious activity. If you can, proactively check any point of sale stations that you're using. Give them a good wiggle. Look for any red flags. If you own a store or work at a store, incorporate this into some of your security measures as well. Having surveillance cameras, that's another really important thing. Not only to try and capture anything that might help from a police investigation standpoint as far as a suspect we can identify or cases we can link together for prosecution. But also, some of these skimmers sometimes have cameras. And so another way to protect yourself is if you can't tap to pay or use a digital wallet, then at least use a PIN number to better protect your card, but make sure you're covering your hand when you're putting in that PIN information.
Yeah. You know what? To that extent, actually, I should ask, is there anything public that people should know about as far as a suspect or potential, people involved in this?
Mm-hmm. For the Tigard cases, we do have surveillance video that in one of these cases has narrowed down a time frame on when we think that skimmer was put on. So we are referring our cases to detectives in our commercial crimes unit. We're very fortunate that we have a team of detectives that are dedicated to commercial crimes, to crimes that happen in businesses just like this. So at this stage, our detectives are reviewing that information. We're hoping to identify the suspect, at least in that case, and see if we can't connect all of the cases that you've seen around the metro to see if there are the same people or groups of people who might be responsible.
All right, well, Kelsey, thank you very much for joining us. I really appreciate your time and expertise, knowledge in this, just to get this out there for everybody. It's good for everyone. You know, as I just mentioned, I didn't even think about it myself from this morning for that gas station. So, yeah, just pay attention to that, and great advice that you've had.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
And for everybody watching too, this is Fox 12 Now. We're going to go ahead and take a break here. We've got more coming up throughout the afternoon. This is completely switching gears, but if you're a fan of James May of Top Gear, he's going to be joining us later on here in the show. We're also going to be talking to Travel Oregon. And of course, if there's breaking news between 1 p.m. and 4 p.m., this is also the place to go. So feel free to download that Fox 12 Oregon app on whatever your streaming device is if you haven't done that already. That way you'll get a notification and you can watch us live, watch after the fact, all of that right there. But I'll talk to you soon. I'm Greg Nibbler. This is Fox 12 Now.